How we doing today? Happy Tuesday. Today I want to compare and contrast the two sleeping pads I've been carrying and let you all know which one I'll be carrying most often for the foreseeable future. So these are my two sleeping pads. I have a Thermarest Neoair Max Regular Wide. Now this is the rectangular version, not the more rounded mummy bag shaped version. And then I have my recently purchased Klymit Insulated Static V. This is the one I took out on the trip to Lassen to sleep on the snow, and that was kind of primarily the reason I bought it, was I wanted an insulated pad for winter tent camping. So the Thermarest has gotten the most use between the two pads. I've had it for about 2 years, and I gotta be honest, I do really like this pad. It's one of the more comfortable pads I've ever slept on. It does have its drawbacks. It's incredibly noisy, which has never bothered me, but it has bothered people that I have hiked and camped next to. Another issue that I have with this pad, and I know that this is an issue with a lot of pads, I understand the science behind it, but it still bothers me. I have to reinflate this several times throughout the night, especially when the temperatures start to dip. And that interruption to sleep is just not, productive or healthy when you're on the trail. Sleep is just so important to the recovery process. So the Static V stayed inflated all night, and that's huge for me. Just not having my sleep interrupted and just being able to sleep all the way through the night. So that was pretty great. I will say, I think due to the width, because the Static V is a little narrower than my Thermarest, it wasn't quite as comfortable, but I was able to sleep better on it, and I think ultimately that's the most important part. With the Thermarest, I'll get occasional hot spots in my hips and my shoulders when I'm sleeping on my side. And so I have to play with the level of inflation, take some air out, add a little bit, take some more out, and just find that perfect balance to where I can kind of sink into the pad just a little and not get those hot spots. I didn't have any of those problems with the Static V fully inflated. It really is, for me anyway, a better pad to sleep on my side. The Static V is noticeably heavier than the Thermarest. The Static V on my scale comes in at 699 grams, and the Thermarest comes in at 540 grams. So that's a pretty significant difference. I'm not an ultralight hiker, so it's not a big deal to me, but I know a lot of people are ultralight hikers, so that's something you'll want to consider. So here's both pads inflated, and I guess I should have filmed that, but I am trying to keep these Tuesday videos under 3 minutes, But I will say the Neoair took about twice as many breaths to fill up as the Static V. You can see the width difference, and that's not insignificant. So let's talk about the valves to inflate and deflate, because there is some pretty major differences. The Static V has this nice flat plug, and then there's this little valve inside that you flip one way to inflate and flip the other way to deflate. And then the Neoair's got this big hunkin' plastic thing that I've always disliked. I have a habit of sleeping with my arms up around my head and constantly bumping this thing with my elbow or my hand or my face. So, not something I've really enjoyed. At the end of the day, having slept on both of them and knowing what kind of sleep I get on each pad, and honestly, that versus this, for the foreseeable future, even though it's insulated, I'm gonna be carrying the Static V even in the warmer months. I get better sleep on it. It's better suited for the way I sleep, being a side sleeper, and I just enjoy it more than the Neoair. I don't really have any other explanation than that. The sleep I got on the Klymit was so much better for me than it was on the Neoair. Not being interrupted all night by reinflating it, not having the crinkly Frito bag sound. Just for me, it's a better pad. I hope you were able to get some good information out of this video. If you have any other questions at all, drop them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. And let me know what you're sleeping on. I am a gear junkie. This is certainly not the last sleeping pad I'll ever buy. So I'd love to hear from you, your likes and dislikes. What's your go-to sleeping pad? And we will talk again soon.